Tonight on CTV News at 6. East Ferris grandparents are sentenced in the death of a 22-month-old boy.
It's like you have a child under the age of 2 who can't talk, who has broken bones.
A court heard Oliver's grandparents failed to follow a safety plan. Plus, more questions over the Rainbow District School Board's plans over a school in Levac.
These are just intolerable situations for a growing community where the option is there.
We'll have the latest from parents who say there are solutions available. And flood warnings continue across the Northeast.
This is on Timmins Street in Mattawa.
Several communities across the region still remain under a state of emergency.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Rimo and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Tony's off tonight. We begin this evening in North Bay, where 2 of the accused in the death of an East Ferris toddler have pled guilty to failing to provide the necessities of life. CTV's Eric Tashner starts us off tonight.
The McCarthy family is saddened, knowing no sentence will bring back little Oliver.
He was starting to have personality. He was looking around and he just loved to look at things.
Oliver died January 15th, 2020 at his mother's home. In an agreed statement of facts between the Crown and defense, he died from blunt force trauma. The force was so great, some of his internal organs ruptured. 2 months before his death, Oliver was taken to the hospital in North Bay and the Children's Hospital in Ottawa for bruises on his body and broken ribs. Police and the Children's Aid Society launched a child abuse investigation. While waiting for a doctor's report, it was deemed safe for Oliver to live with Nadine Melvar, his mother, at his maternal grandmother Randy Melvar and step-grandfather Wayne Smith's East Ferris home. The family agreed to a safety plan with Children's Aid that Oliver was not to be near Melvar's boyfriend, Tyler Campbell. The McCarthys notified CAS the agreement was being violated. CAS visited the home in the weeks leading up to Oliver's death and reminded the family of the agreement. Caseworkers were assured it was being followed.
That should have raised huge red flags, like you have a child under the age of 2 who can't talk, who has broken bones.
Oliver was fatally assaulted soon after those visits. Nadine Melvar is serving 6.5 years behind bars for manslaughter, while Campbell pled guilty to failing to provide the necessaries of life and is serving 3 years less time served and 3 years probation. Randy Melvar and Smith were sentenced to a 12-month conditional house arrest with statutory conditions. During the first 6 months, they are not allowed to leave except for medical emergencies or for the necessities of life twice a week. Justice Susan Stothart said in her ruling, Oliver could have been placed in a safe environment if police and CAS knew he was being brutally assaulted.
It was so preventable and it was so obvious that it was an ongoing situation.
It's the pain of knowing Oliver will never grow up that cuts the deepest for the McCarthy family.
I started a flower garden in his memory. One of the only summers that we had with him, he had really enjoyed stopping and smelling the flowers.
Eric Tashner, CTV News, North Bay.
Police are on scene right now of a multi-vehicle crash in Sudbury's South End. A viewer sending us in this video around 4:30 this afternoon of the intersection at Algonquin Road and Regent Street. View details are known. CTV News has reached out to the Sudbury police, who couldn't say much but could confirm that the crash is under investigation. Just over 1 week ago, some parents in Greater Sudbury expressed concerns about the right sizing of Levac Public School. Plans include an entire wing demolished. Now other locals are echoing calls to see the space used for French public education. CTV's Lindsay Alick reports.
Tamsin Lanalampi was born and raised in Onaping Falls. In 2020, she and her husband Joshua returned, purchasing a home, fully knowing it was a retirement community.
As I had my family, we've had our 2 girls, we've met plenty of other parents who are not other looking for affordable housing and lovely communities. They're looking for local schools because 144 is just not an option to send your kids down every day.
She says many families are forced to send their kids to school in Chelmsford because Levac Public School, which is part of the Rainbow District School Board, discontinued its French immersion program in 2019 because of low enrollment.
It is a complete 180 to have your whole world sitting in the back seat when a transport starts drifting into your lane. When your parents show up at a collision scene to make sure that it's not you and your kids in the morning because the description of the vehicle matches your vehicle. These are just intolerable situations for a growing community where the option is there, the local option is there for safe, equitable access to French public education.
Lana Lampy says if the board is not willing to bring back French immersion, she wonders if it might consider sharing space with Cascade de Grand Nord like it does in Chelmsford with Pavillon and Chelmsford Valley District Composite School.
It works in Chelmsford, it works in Espanola, it works elsewhere in the province. This is a really practical solution for small rural communities.
In December, Lana Lampy and her husband made a presentation at a Cascade de Grand Nord meeting, and they recently received a letter from the board, which translated says, considering the perspectives raised and the issues that caught our attention, we wish to inform you that the board understands the expressed need. Your proposal will therefore be integrated into our long-term planning for growth and capital assets. CTV News and the parents have both reached out to the Ministry of Education multiple times, but have yet to receive any kind of response. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Sudbury.
The province is investing more than $1.3 million in northern agriculture. 5 projects will split the funding from Northern Ontario Heritage Fund Corporation. Clay Belt Development Corporation out of New Liskeard is getting the lion's share of more than $700,000 for new equipment, staff and infrastructure. The company clears and prepares land for farming. Also receiving funding are a grain storage provider in Verner, a farm in Iroquois Falls and a greenhouse in Thunder Bay. Nearly $80 million in provincial funding is headed to post-secondary schools in North Bay. MPP Vic Fideli making the announcement today. Canadore College is getting $44.4 million over the next 4 years. Nipissing University will be receiving $34.1 million over the same duration. The funding is intended to support schools in offering education and training in in-demand labor markets.
Premier and I yesterday were together with 16 consuls general. And they were all talking about why their companies are coming to Ontario from around the world. Our trade is up, India up 88%. I mean, Vietnam is up 288%. Why? The talent that they find throughout Ontario. We had 84,000 STEM grads last year, 97,000 STEM grads this year, and this funding will now help expand enrollment.
What they've done is provided a funding framework that's going to last 4 years. So what that does is enables universities to be able to have a predictive model so that we can set our budgets and understand how much money that we have coming in from the province and from tuition so that we can make necessary investments in programs and services.
Fideli says this investment is just one of over $6.4 billion the province has provided to post-secondary institutions across Ontario. Time for our first check on weather, but before we do, I posted a little something to my Instagram story. Take a look at this. And it's May. Awesome. Look at this. Hopefully Rick's got a better forecast for us later today. All right, there we go. I didn't tell Rick I was going to do that. And Rick, I think we owe the people an explanation. Go for it.
You sound like my wife when she sees snow and rain and whatever. What's the temperature, hon? Well, it's not quite to your liking, and that's just the way she reacts, Ian. Systems map, courtesy of Environment Canada. Good call on that, Ian. You and a lot of other people were correct in your assumption about the weather today because I heard it all day long. Some flurries, some showers, sleet as we call it. We've got some warmer temperatures and some sunshine coming up. So again, stick around for that. We also have the pick of the day. Now your evening temperatures, your currents, not quite what we had in mind to kick off the weekend, but we'll run through those very shortly. Back to you.
Thanks, Rick. There's more to come on CTV News at 6. But first, let's head to a live look of downtown Timmins. This shot of Algonquin Boulevard coming from City Hall and is courtesy of the city itself. Right now, it's looking pretty cloudy and cool, but I hear there might be some light snow on the way. We'll get those details from Rick coming up. Stay with us. You're watching CTV Northern Ontario. The next generation of students in Thesalon are about to get a major upgrade. The Ontario government is investing nearly $16 million into the creation of a new elementary school in town. Algoma Manitoulin MPP Bill Rosenberg, a former mayor of Thesalon, says the replacement of their century-old school was a long time coming. Operated by the Algoma District School Board, the facility will have 222 new student spaces and 64 new licensed childcare spaces. Rosenberg adds that a modern school is top of mind for those evaluating their move to a new community, and the building can also serve as a hub for many community activities.
It's going to make it so much better for the teachers to go, and students and parents alike to have that confidence that their kids are going to a modern facility. And with the addition too of the childcare spaces, it's for the community. It's such a big win for the stabilization of our community.
The new school will be built on the same property as the current Thesalon Public School. Timelines on construction unclear, but Rosenberg hopes to have shovels in the ground as early as this calendar year. 8 communities across Northeastern Ontario remain under states of emergency as high water levels continue to wreak havoc. Sudbury just lifted its measures today. CTV's Angela Campbell has the latest.
This is on Timmins Street in Mattawa.
The berm or gravel wall is being built up to mitigate flooding from the Mattawa River.
After meeting with the Upper Ottawa River Committee on the freshet meeting, it was clear to me that, within the next few days or week, we're going to be swamped.
The town is the latest to declare a state of emergency due to elevated water levels. 6 other municipalities in the Northeast continue their states of emergency enacted several weeks ago. Those include French River, West Nipissing, and 4 municipalities on Manitoulin Island. Further north, Moose Factory Island, which includes Moose Cree First Nation, has also declared a state of emergency. The chief says more than 1,000 residents have left voluntarily as ice flows in the Moose River create flood conditions.
Has to do with the snow melt and all the water that's making its way north towards our community. So the water is still elevated. I'll say we're not out of the woods just yet, but I'm hoping within the next few days that we'll see the water level begin to drop a lot quicker and faster.
Most communities dealing with their respective crises say residents and volunteers have banded together to help each other.
Mattawa has proven in the past that when times like these appear, we're close-knit and we're extremely resilient, and we'll see our way through this again.
The Ministry of Emergency Preparedness is working with these communities at this time, providing flood barriers, sandbags, and other resources. Chisholm Township lifted its state of emergency April 23rd. Greater Sudbury just lifted its measures today. Angela Campbell, CTV News, Sudbury.
Meanwhile, Chapleau is bracing for what's next as river levels continue to rise. The municipality says the river is 1 inch below the threshold for potential flooding. A message on Chapleau's Facebook page says the emergency control group met today to consider stage 2 protocols, which is potential for flooding. If that happens, sandbags will be made available. Northern motorists experienced more pain at the pumps today. In Timmins, the price spiked more than 12 cents a liter. That's in contrast to drivers in Vancouver who are now paying over $2 a liter. Canada's gas price analyst Dan McTagg says the increase is linked to the conflict in Iran. McTagg expects the price of oil could climb even higher due to the disruptions in the Strait of Hormuz. He's encouraging Canadians to petition the government for tax relief.
Those are things that could help on the margins. Also, of course, I'm paying a little bit more attention to the things that could strengthen the Canadian dollar, and perhaps adding our voices to the pitch that governments are going to have to do something than simply a little bit of window dressing here and there with the odd tax cut. It has to be a more holistic approach, and that's to have the federal and provincial governments suspend the HST, 13%. That would save, when you're paying $2 a liter, that alone would save 26 cents a liter.
McTagg provides gas predictions for 53 Canadian cities. Sudbury is among them. As the war in Iran enters its second month, gas prices here are only getting worse. CTV's Adrian Gabriel with how some drivers are trying to cut other expenses so they can afford to fill up.
With gas prices soaring, Canadians are feeling less than fulfilled at the pumps.
It's ridiculous, to be honest.
When you look at the price on the pump, what goes through your mind?
Am I going to have to put my car away for a bit?
What we're paying is a direct result as to what's going on in the Middle East.
The war in Iran and the subsequent closure of the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil normally travels through, has sent prices peaking.
I paid $170.
CTV News crunched the numbers. An average size vehicle has about a 50-liter gas tank. Most Canadians fill up once per week. The cheapest national average for gas so far this year is about $1.22 per liter. Over a 12-month period, that would run you about $3,172 in gas per year. On the high end, the national average now sits at about $1.84 per liter. If the high price sticks around, it would cost an average of about $4,784 a year at the pumps. That's a difference of $1,612.
I think it's going to get much higher. I see $2 a liter as not only a possibility, it's a probability at this stage.
The potential increase has some drivers already cutting back on other expenses. You'd have to cut back on activities with your family.
Yes, I'm going to have to, due to the fact that the gas prices are affecting us a lot.
My meat consumption has gone down significantly, and for me, there needs to be an offset.
Those watching the market say there's a belief that elevated prices could be the new normal for several more months.
I can see this going to the end of the year. Merry Christmas.
Analysts tell us that even if the Strait of Hormuz was reopened today, it would take at least 2 months before we see any meaningful decrease in the price here at the pumps. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Sudbury police have arrested 3 individuals for possession following the search of a home on Regent Street. Police say the investigation led them to the home where a search warrant revealed nearly $8,000 in illicit drugs, mostly pills and more than $5,000 in cash. A 36-year-old woman was held for a bail hearing, while a 39-year-old man and a 65-year-old woman were released with a court date set for July 30th. A 40-year-old contractor is facing charges in regards to an alleged contractor scam in North Bay. According to North Bay police, the accused was hired through what looked to be a legitimate business. Over the next several weeks, the victim paid $16,000 for work that was never completed and then lost communication with the contractor. Police are reminding the public to take precautions when hiring contractors and to report suspicious behavior to police. Bylaw officers in Sault Ste. Marie are dealing with a rise in dirty yard complaints, increased service demands due to vacant and neglected properties, and more calls to encampments in the city. Just some of the issues being flagged for council as they'll be discussing a potential bylaw blitz to improve compliance. According to the report, a blitz would include proactive inspections rather than complaint-driven issuing orders, with shorter compliance timelines and coordinating follow-up inspections. Staff say there would be no increase to the city's budget, but additional help could be requested during future budget deliberations. Back now for a check on the current conditions with Rick Wyman. And Rick, I'm going to be off for the next 5 days. Can we expect sunshine anytime soon?
Well, you can send me your complaints from your unknown destination at this time. I'm sure where you're going in, the weather will be a lot better. It's going to get better over here. Have a look. Forecast radar as issued by Environment Canada. That snow, that rain will soon be leaving. And again, we'll have to deal with sleet and other forms over the course of the next few days, but not as severe as what we've seen in all that snow. Let's take a look at some of our current temperatures. Well, light snow in Moosonee, 0. Cochrane 2 with the clouds, 4 in Timmins with the clouds. Kapuskasing, some sun, some cloud. Cloudy skies in Chapleau at 3. Wawa, some sun and clouds. Sault Ste. Marie, cloudy skies. Meanwhile, in Parry Sound, sunshine at 6 degrees down Highway 69. Clouds in North Bay, Temiskaming Shores, and Kirkland Lake. Your temperatures 3, 4, and 5. And in Greater Sudbury, 5 degrees with the clouds. More of the same in Espanola at 4, 4 in Elliott Lake, and 4 in Gore Bay. You want to see winter weather, Ian Campbell? You'll see it on my pick of the day coming up in just a few minutes right after the 7-day forecast.
I don't want to see winter weather, but I'm looking forward to the picture. Thanks, Rick. Next on CTV News at 6. The latest on the U.S.-Iranian war. President Donald Trump says he's not happy. And the Americans approve a new pipeline into the U.S. carrying Canadian oil. Calgary police have charged the father of 2 slain children with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Police say the victims were a 5-year-old boy and 3-year-old girl found in a vehicle yesterday. Late this afternoon, police confirming the children's 37-year-old father will appear in court on Monday. Investigators have not said how the children were killed and are waiting for the results of an autopsy. There is a publication ban on the names of the victims and witnesses. U.S. President Donald Trump says he's not satisfied with Iran's latest effort to end the conflict and that for now negotiations are taking place by phone.
It's a very disjointed, unfriendly leadership, unfriendly to each other. They're not getting along. They're very, very confused by what's happened because essentially most of their military has been wiped out. But we just had a conversation with Iran. Let's see what happens. But I would say that I am not happy.
Iranian state media is reporting that the country has sent its latest proposal for negotiations with the United States to mediators in Pakistan. This move could improve prospects of bringing an end to the U.S.-Israeli war with Iran. The Iranian state news agency gave no details about the proposal, but global oil prices dropped on the news. On Thursday, the Republican-controlled U.S. Senate rejected a measure aimed at restricting President Trump's war powers. The Democrats now argue the war is illegal.
The yeas are 47, the nays are 50, and the motion is not agreed to.
The vote, the 6th of the year, came just hours before the war hit its 60-day mark. Democrats and some Republicans have said for weeks that they see today's deadline as key for the president to officially ask Congress to vote to continue the war. Congress has not authorized the current war in Iran whatsoever. However, Trump's Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth has argued that the current ceasefire in Iran stopped the clock on this 60-day deadline. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order authorizing a new pipeline to transport more Canadian oil in the meantime to the United States from Alberta to Wyoming. The 1,000-kilometer Bridger pipeline is a joint proposal from Canadian pipeline company South Bow and U.S.-based Bridger Pipeline. The proposed project would have the capacity to move more than 1 million barrels of oil per day, with analysts suggesting it could boost Canadian oil exports to the U.S. by 12%. Any pipeline would take years to build. The 1,000-kilometer Bridger pipeline is a joint proposal from Canadian pipeline company South Bow and U.S.-based Bridger. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith taking to social media to applaud the approval, saying the United States is our most important trading partner and that Alberta will continue to deliver energy to help secure North American energy dominance. One Canadian energy analyst we spoke to says this pipeline will use some existing infrastructure from Keystone XL in Canada and could be on stream much faster than a new pipeline. Nuttall says that would dramatically and quickly boost Canadian oil exports.
It would also negate the need for a 1 million barrel per day pipeline to the West Coast, which we do not see occurring. Even if existing legislation were neutralized to allow the project to go ahead, we have talked to effectively every source that could fund this pipeline, and at a cost of $35 to $40 billion, we cannot find a single entity that would be willing to write this check.
This comes after Trump has claimed that the United States doesn't need Canadian oil or most other Canadian products. There's more news ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick Wyman.
I hope you can handle the truth. I know you can, Ian.
Probably not.
Forecast radar, here we go. We've got a bit of a shaky start to the weekend. It's not as good as I thought it might be, but we've got some sleet, some rain, some flurries, some cooler temperatures in the forecast, but things will get better over the course of the weekend. But then again, we have another system by about Sunday evening, 5, 6 o'clock, some precipitation moving in. Overnight conditions, chance of flurries in Greater Sudbury, Sault Ste. Marie, some sleet, then clearing. Timmins, light snow, 2 centimeters. Temiskaming Shores, chance of sleet, chance of flurries in North Bay. Moosonee, 2 centimeters of snow. Caphurst, another 2 centimeters of snow. Wawa clearing, chance of sleet in Gore Bay. Perry Sound, chance of sleet as well. Now your 7-day numbers. Sudbury, Nickel Belt, sun and cloud tomorrow at 8, 11 on Sunday. Told you it was going to change. Monday, chance of showers at 9, 10 Tuesday, the odd sunny break, chance of showers, Wednesday, Thursday, sun and cloud, 11 and 10 your expected highs. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, sunshine tomorrow, but only 6. Chance of showers on Sunday, a few sunny breaks at 10. Chance of showers Monday and Tuesday, 11 and 7 your daytime highs. Wednesday, Thursday should be nice but cool, 8 and 7 with the sun and the cloud. Timmins Cochrane campus facing light snow, at least periods of light snow according to Environment Canada for tomorrow. 4 degrees, you've got a few centimeters overnight tonight. Sunny skies for Sunday, at least you'll get some cloudy breaks, 10 degrees your high, chance of sleet for 4 consecutive days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The odd sunny break Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and your temperatures 7, 8, and 9, still well below normal for this time of the year. After all, it is May 1st. Temiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, chance of showers tomorrow at 6, 11 Sunday, sun and cloud. Chance of showers for Monday and Tuesday, 10 and 12 degrees. Temperatures are nice, but the conditions aren't ideal. 11 and 10 your highs Wednesday and Thursday. Chance of sleet Wednesday, chance of showers on Thursday. Pretty well 30 to 40% for the risk of precipitation. Your normal is at around 14 for this time of the year. Here comes North Bay and West Nipissing. Sun and cloud tomorrow at 9, 10 degrees on Sunday. Lots of sunshine. Chance of showers both days, Monday and Tuesday at 40 and 60%. 10 and 13 your daytime highs. 11 Wednesday and Thursday. We've got sun and cloud both days, but your evenings somewhat cooler, going down to 2 degrees, -3 on Saturday night as well. Let's check out our pick of the day, indicative of what we experienced. Larry Kirtley, a friend of the show. This is Blind River. At least Larry Kirtley from Blind River. This shot of Elliott Lake earlier this morning, and that's what we experienced pretty well throughout the Northeast. Larry, thank you so much for that. We'll have more coming up with Ian Campbell filling in, pinch hitting for Tony Rima tonight after the break.
The federal government says it has a plan to tackle the massive backlog of air travel complaints, now close to 100,000. Among the measures announced, much stiffer fines. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
Delayed till 12:45, then delayed till 1:10 a.m.
Frequent flyer Robert Walker says he's collected so many delay and cancellation messages from airlines he can write a book.
You get nowhere, it takes forever. I haven't got time to worry about it. And I just don't believe that anything will ever be done.
He's not optimistic about the federal government's commitment to better handle air travel complaints, included in the spring economic update.
We put in place a system that, in hindsight, was onerous, expensive, took too long.
The feds now proposing to quadruple the fines airlines could face to a maximum of $1 million. Clear the complaint backlog by using a third party based on the successful model in the UK and EU, and simplify the complaint process.
The exemptions, the lack of clarity, the confusion, the loopholes.
Since January, the Canadian Transportation Agency tells CTV News it's received more than 1,000 complaints every week. That backlog now stands at 97,000, and it can take more than 2 years for your complaint to be reviewed.
This is really, I would argue, the first time that we've seen the government acknowledge that the system itself needs to be reformed. And so we're encouraged by that.
The National Airlines Council of Canada told us that before new details about much bigger fines emerged Friday, and wouldn't share updated reaction.
I don't believe the government.
While this air passenger rights advocate says Ottawa is offering smoke and mirrors.
The government is essentially trying to solve a PR problem. When they are going to privatize it, they will be able to shake their finger at whatever third party is running the adjudication process and say, you're not doing your job well.
Gabor Lukash says the reason the system works better in Europe isn't because of a third-party system, but rather easy-to-follow rules about whether compensation is owed, which he would like to see in Canada. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Speed limits on Highway 67 Municipal Road in Timmins are returning to normal. Crews are removing the temporary signs and replacing them with the 80-kilometer-an-hour speed limit signage. The speed limit had been reduced April 10th because of poor road conditions between Highway 101 East and the city's boundary. Motorists are being reminded to watch for road crews and reduce speeds in active work zones. May 1st is also known as Disconnection Day in Ontario. It's the first day following the winter. Hydro, gas and heating companies can disconnect services for non-payment of bills. As CTV's Scott Miller explains, in the London area, the United Way is being inundated with requests for financial aid.
Today, hundreds of Ontarians will be getting a letter in the mail saying their heat and/or hydro will be disconnected because of non-payment.
This absolutely happens. It's a regular practice. There is nothing to stop a utility company from disconnecting for non-payment between May 1st and November.
The winter utility disconnection moratorium ends today, which means people have been calling the United Way of Grey Bruce's utility assistance program nonstop all this week.
Our phone here at the United Way has been kind of ringing off the hook from people looking for further assistance. Many have already accessed the Provincial LEAP program for 2026, but it hasn't been enough to negate the bill.
Dobbin says the United Way of Bruce Grey spends nearly $250,000 each year helping people pay their utility bills. In the first few months of this year, more than $35,000 has already gone out the door.
We look at what we're spending, so we've already spent about $17,000 more this year in this same time frame, so the first 4 months of 2026 versus what we spent in 25. And then when we look at what we spent in all of 25 versus 24, we spent over $55,000 more just helping people with their utilities in 25 than we did in 24.
After going into deficit last year, Dobbin says the United Way can only cover up to $700 for overdue oil, propane, or wood bills. Provincial or utility-specific programs can cover overdue natural gas and electricity bills. Dobbin says they cannot go into deficit covering utility bills this year.
How do you tell somebody, no, I'm sorry, you will be disconnected. No, I'm sorry, you will be cold, because we just simply do not have the money to pay that bill for you.
While Dobbin says all donations to their utility assistance program do help people, it still is just a Band-Aid on a societal issue that is seeing more and more people fall into poverty as the cost of literally everything rises.
We're seeing this snowball effect of people running out of EI, suddenly on Ontario Works going, wait, I get $733 to pay all the bills, pay the rent, feed my kids, that's it. And that's where they're at our doorstep in complete and utter crisis.
In Grey Bruce, Scott Miller, CTV News.
Normal pressure hydrocephalus is a disease that affects older adults with symptoms that mimic dementia. It can be treated, though. And as our health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, a Toronto area hospital is testing a groundbreaking new procedure.
Normal pressure hydrocephalus, or NPH, can be difficult to diagnose because it can look like dementia.
It's usually characterized by a triad of 3 symptoms: cognitive difficulties, difficulty in ambulating, and some urinary incontinence.
Dr. Jose Danilo Diestro explains the traditional treatment has been to put a tube to drain excess fluid from the brain into the abdomen.
They go through your skull and then they go into the ventricle, and basically a tube is inserted there, and then that tube drains fluid. And the typical place where it drains fluid is into the peritoneal space.
But Dr. Vitor Pereira says there can be problems.
There's too many devices, and the risk of getting clogged, of having an issue or an infection is up to 20% in the first 2 years.
So Unity Health is testing this tiny device called an e-shunt, and Abdul Rahman was the first patient to try it. Instead of using a long tube to carry fluid away from the brain, the minimally invasive surgery places the shunt in a sinus cavity just below the brain.
And that tube is now the drainage system.
The next day he went home. He had a significant improvement on the cognition initially, and an improvement on the gait.
They hope to do 20 such cases in Toronto, and eventually Pereira believes a significant number of NPH patients can benefit from the new e-shunt.
The criteria now is very strict. I think probably 60 to 70% of the patients with NPH may qualify to this procedure.
St. Mike's is one of several international sites testing the new procedure on a total of 240 patients. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Still ahead on CTV News at 6. A big box store is pulling out of the Porcupine Mall, and a Timmins councillor suspects construction was to blame. More than 34,000 Saultites were without power for part of the day. PUC services sent outage notices around 10:30 this morning. Power was restored by noon. PUC says the outage was on the transmission system, affecting their customers, adding crews were still working to confirm what caused it. A power outage in Sagamok First Nation is ongoing. According to the community's Facebook page, Hydro One has indicated a submerged cable has been damaged and is not safe to work on overnight. Crews will be working on the issue tomorrow morning. In the meantime, people are asked to ensure appliances are turned off, keep fridge and freezer doors closed as much as possible, and conserve energy on mobile devices. Water services are not impacted by outages, but for some it could be, so filling jugs or buckets with water in case of interruptions is recommended. Giant Tiger in the Porcupine Mall, located in the east end of Timmins, is closing on July 4th. A company spokesperson confirming the news today. Giant Tiger declining to give CTV News an interview today, but in an email, the spokesperson wrote the decision to close was not taken lightly and was made with careful consideration and thorough analysis. City Councillor John Curley believes the store suffered a financial loss due to the construction that took place in front of the mall last summer and fall. He is asking Giant Tiger to reconsider its decision for at least another year. He's inviting the company to meet with him.
The highway construction's coming to an end, and that area will be all cleaned up. The new sidewalk we put in so people will be able to walk to the Porcupine Mall. So when you start to see positive happening and then you get a negative, unfortunately negative overrules the positive, and that's what we have to reflect on, is going back to the positive and showing head office in Ottawa that this 20th store, built in all of Ontario, that's been there for a long time, would it be better for a standalone so they can carry whatever they want to?
In the meantime, Giant Tiger is encouraging customers to visit its store located in the opposite end of the city, about 15 kilometers west of the Porcupine Mall. It's a must-win tonight for the Raptors as they host the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight in Toronto, trailing their first-round series 3-2. However, the Raps have to claw past some obstacles to send the series to a deciding Game 7. All-star Brandon Ingram may miss the game with an injury. The team's other all-star, Scotty Barnes, will play but could be limited after getting hurt in the last game. And injured point guard Emmanuel Quickly is still ruled out. And this is the scene in downtown Montreal tonight as the Canadiens could wrap up their Round 1 series this evening. The Habs are the only Canadian team left in the NHL playoffs after the Edmonton Oilers were eliminated last night. Puck drop for Game 6 against the Tampa Bay Lightning is 7 p.m. A decade after a daring escape from Toronto's High Park Zoo, capybaras are once again roaming the city streets. Sort of. CTV's Corey Barrett explains.
The search is on. 10 years ago, the unlikeliest of jailbreaks catapulted the capybara from obscure South American rodent to Toronto's top news.
Live over High Park, where those two young capybaras are still missing.
In the 30 days it took to capture the cappies, social media exploded with sightings and speculation citywide.
It popped out onto the street here.
It swam directly from the tree right up to where I'm standing now.
We heard that they escaped.
The bears, it's all gone.
A decade later, they've escaped again. In video game form, that is. You can call off the search parties. Cappy Castaway is the brainchild of indie developer Saffron Aurora. You play as a lost capybara trying to find your way off of a replica of Toronto Island.
I love Toronto, so any way that I can sort of represent where I'm from, I like doing that.
The Queen Street Viaduct, the DVP Rainbow Tunnel, even TTC streetcars among the game's many Toronto Easter eggs.
You can see one of our references over here. This is Nest Fred's. I'm actually going to do this one over here, which is Fran's Diner, if you're familiar with Fran's. We've got a little Timmy's cup, our coffee cup. It's a winning cup! Would you look at that? We do have a few, I would say, Toronto animals celebrity references. Conrad the raccoon makes an appearance. Something I would like to add is the IKEA monkey.
The video game industry is volatile, so success is hardly guaranteed. But there could be gold in these hills. Capybara cafes do big business in Japan, so maybe the world's just been waiting for our own ode to the rodent.
I think the capybara is a friend to all animals. It's very like loaf-shaped and it's very approachable.
Cappy Castaway will be available for download later this year. Corey Baird, CTV News, Toronto.
Very cool. An Oscar statuette that disappeared on a flight from New York to Germany has been found. Russian director Pavel Talenkin won Best Documentary this year for his film Mr. Nobody Against Putin. In an online post, his co-director said Talenkin was forced to check the award after being told it posed a potential security threat. The airline Lufthansa says it was found in Frankfurt and the airline is arranging its return. A pair of Latin artists are making headlines tonight. Here's David Daniel with the Hollywood Report.
Olivia Rodrigo shouldn't be bored for long. The Grammy-winning singer-songwriter has announced a 65-date concert tour launching September 25th in Hartford, Connecticut, and spanning North America and Europe. The Unraveled tour is in support of her third studio album, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. Concert tickets go on sale May 7th, and the album drops June 12th.
Do you believe in magic? Honestly, since I first walked into your office, I believe in everything. No fooling around at the office. Never at the office. If we got caught, it could destroy everything I've built.
CEO Jennifer Lopez and lawyer Brett Goldstein risk it all in Office Romance. Can this workplace relationship flourish, especially when both people are workaholics? Netflix just released the first trailer for the rom-com, which debuts on the streamer June 5th. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
A Canadian energy company has announced a large expansion in the U.S. BNN Bloomberg's Morella Fernandez brings us details.
TC Energy will expand a pipeline system at a cost of $1.5 billion U.S. The gas system runs from New York State to the Midwest and Southeast. The Canadian company just reported earnings with a revenue for the quarter at about $3.9 billion. The system expansion should be up and running by 2030. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down to 73.58. West Texas Intermediate is down to 101.94. Western Canadian Select also down to 81.92. And the TSX lost 73 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold down $3.46, closing the day at $46.14.46 U.S. an ounce. Silver up $1.65 to end the day at $75.35. Copper down a nickel, $5.86, and nickel down a penny, ending the day at $8.72 U.S. a pound. Rick is back now for one last look at your Saturday weather.
Well, things improve in some sectors of Northeastern Ontario tomorrow. Ian Campbell, for instance, in Sudbury, sun and cloud, 8 degrees. Cool night tomorrow night, though. Light snow, Timmins for tomorrow, so that's periods of light snow. Sault Ste. Marie, you've got the sunshine, but only 6 degrees for the day. How about North Bay? 9 degrees, some sun and cloud. Perry Sound, some sun and cloud as well at 6. 6 degrees to Miskaming Shores, chance of flurries. Things will get warmer on Sunday with sunny skies in some areas. And you, my friend, are taking off to Florida in just a couple of days. You're going to have a lot of fun and some warmer weather.
Thanks so much. I'm only going for 24 hours, so hopefully there's going to be warmer weather while I'm down there, but we're taking some deserving kids with dreams take flight to the happiest place on earth. Thanks, Rick. Have a great weekend. Finally for us tonight, staff at Health Sciences North in Sudbury got a smile today. The Lougheed Foundation was spreading smiles in the form of cookies and coffee today, bringing staff a little morning pick-me-up. The HSN Foundation is one of the recipients of the Smile Cookie. Proceeds along with Sudbury Food Bank and the CTV Lions Children's Christmas Telethon. If you're looking for a sweet treat, the campaign runs until this Sunday. And I know Rick, myself, and Amanda Hicks, we decorate a lot of those cookies. That takes a lot of work, but the money goes for a great cause. That's our newscast this Friday night. Thanks so much for watching. For those of you so inclined, I'll see you tonight at 11:30. For the rest of you, have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you in a couple days. Good night.